Hey, like I said before, I got your back at the pay-per-view just in case Triple H or Randy Orton try to get involved again.
Hey, I really appreciate that. You've been such a big help, which is... I hate to ask for another favor, but would you be willing to show me the calf crusher?
I don't know, man. That's kind of my thing, you know? Can't be giving out all my secrets just in case we have to face each other again someday.
Look, I need help if I'm gonna beat Cena in this submission match. I mean, I'll get down on my knees and beg if I have to.
Oh my, stand up. I'll show it to you.
Awesome. I owe you one.
Don't worry. I'm sure we'll settle up at some point.
I'm sorry for how you've been treated by Triple H, but unfortunately, there's not much else I can do to help at this point. Yeah, tell me about it. He's still holding one against me from 5 years ago. Anyway, good luck in your submission match versus Cena. Avoid the STF at all costs.
Coming up shortly is what should be an incredible encounter. We have one of our breakout talents against Chad Gable.
Oh, we aren't going anywhere.
This man always... This should be an incredible matchup. I mean, both men have extensive offensive repertoires, lasting endurance, and an insatiable appetite to be number one.
Somebody's ego is going to be severely bruised after this submission match, guys. Nobody ever likes to utter the words, "I quit."
Enough already.
He's just so dominant.
I don't think Chad Gable is looking so good right now. But he's very aware of who he's in there with and what he has to do to rebound.
Yeah, he's taking on some offense here, but that's to be expected, especially considering who he's in the ring with.
I think a lot of people right now are scratching their heads wondering how he let this match get so out of hand.
Man. How's that for ferocious? It's like someone hit the repeat button for this move.
He's just so dominant.
Drops the fist on him.
When we talk about submission matches, we have to speak about one that, in many people's eyes, set the standard. It was WrestleMania 13. Bret the Hitman Hart was in a heated rivalry with a brash star on the rise named Stone Cold Steve Austin. This match started like no other submission match, with the two superstars battling in the crowd and attempting to use ring steps as a weapon.
This is exactly how he drew this one up. This is what makes him one of the best in the...
Wow, I thought he was a goner.
Byron, you mentioned the submission match between Bret Hart and Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13. The rivalry between the Hitman and Stone Cold was so intense that WWE had no choice but to appoint mixed martial arts champion Ken Shamrock as the special guest referee. The Hitman didn't waste any time focusing his assault on Austin's injured knee. Steve... Look at this, Byron. The Thugnificent. Not the first time we've seen this move tonight.
Down into the shoulder
wow,
blade.
that hurt. The Dirty Deeds and done dirt cheek, too.
Just go for the finisher already. I don't understand the delay. The object is to win the match, isn't it? Come on, let's go.
He's making a statement here with this attack. He might be trying to take out the leg here. He releases it.
And you can debate whether or not that would have been the end. Interesting decision there.
As Corey continues to criticize the action of the... What does Buzz have in store? And he goes down hard.
That might be all she wrote for Chad Gable. Things just went from bad to...
Look at this, Byron.
This just ain't gonna do it.
Whoa, he lets him out.
What a fool. He had him dead to rights.
What does Buzz have in store? We're about to find out.
He's gonna do it!
Look at this. He's going back to an old friend with that one.
You got to think about using the finisher here pretty soon, I would think. Just pick up the win and move on. There's no need to keep this thing going longer than necessary.
Good point by Byron earlier. If there's an opening to execute the finisher, you got to take it. The last thing you want to do is let your opponent hang around for no reason. I can tell you, bad things happen when you do that. If you don't believe me, just go back and watch Skip versus Barry Horowitz from 1995.
I remember that like it was yesterday, Cole. Instead of putting Horowitz away, Skip thought it would be a good idea to do some mid-ring push-ups. And as you were saying, the decision ultimately came back to haunt him.
He's going for it all. Hits him right between the eyes with the knee.
Elbow drop, big time.
Oh, and he releases the hold.
Wow. Part of me thought that was it, Cole.
And now he goes for it a second time. Oh, my DDT!
Lights out.
If you make one mistake against Chad Gable, he'll capitalize on it in the blink of an eye. And that will probably include a few alpha plexes for good measure. Oh boy, he is rolling.
Interesting decision here, Corey.
I don't know. I kind of like it. He clearly wants to inflict some more punishment.
Gable represents a new era in the competition that's taking over WWE in both. What does Buzz have in store? Bang, right to the face.
Here's his moment, Michael.
Just as devastating the second time around.
Look at this, Byron.
There's no way he's giving up now. You got to think about using the finisher here pretty soon, I would think. Just pick up the win and move on. There's no need to keep this thing going long. Than necessary.
What does Buzz have in store? We're about to find out.
He's gonna do it!
And just like that, this move is leading the charge. Well, he got him.
Let's look at this again.
Look at this, Byron.
I don't think he's got it completely locked in.
Good point by Byron earlier. If there's an opening to execute the finisher, you got to take it. The last thing you want to do is let your opponent hang around for no reason. I can tell you, bad things happen when you do that. If you don't believe me, just go back and watch Skip versus Barry Horowitz from 1995.
I remember that like it was yesterday, Cole. Instead of putting Horowitz away, Skip thought it would be a good idea to do some mid-ring push-ups. And as you were saying, the decision ultimately came back to haunt him. The WWE Universe witnessed a classic submission match at 2016's Extreme Rules event. The Queen, Charlotte Flair, defended her Women's Championship against Natalya. The one thing I thought was unfair about the match is that there was a ban against the Nature Boy Ric Flair being at ringside. If Flair appeared, Charlotte would lose the match and her women's crown.
And the instinct from Gable on display.
So quick.
Corey, you spoke of the submission match between Charlotte Flair and Natalya, and I need to point out that this match was not Flair's figure eight versus Natalya's sharpshooter. Victory could be achieved by making your opponent tap out to any submission maneuver. And I think we all know why the Nature Boy was banned from ringside.
When Natalya had Charlotte locked in the sharpshooter, it seemed that the Queen of Hearts was going to be crowned the new champion. Of course, that was until Dana Brooke distracted Natty, giving Charlotte the opening to lock on figure eight and force Natalya to submit. It wouldn't be a Flair match without a little bit of controversy, would it?
Just go for the finisher already. I don't understand the delay. The object is to win the match, isn't it? Come on, let's go.
As Corey continues to criticize the action in the ring, allow me to take the other side of the argument. The last thing any superstar wants to do is go for the finisher prematurely. No good can come of that.
Yeah, you really want to wait for the exact right time. If you go for it and miss, that could be the momentum shift your opponent has been waiting for. While I was coming in today, I heard a lot of fans lauding this superstar for competing here tonight. According to them, it takes a lot of guts to compete with such an injury.
Going for something else, it seems.
I suspect he knows something that we don't, Cole. Why else would he just let him out of that hole?
The dirty deeds and done dirt cheek too. Look at this, Byron. Injuries definitely are a storyline to keep an eye on during this match, but so far, there does not appear to be anything really slowing this superstar down.
Would you two listen to yourselves? A couple of scrapes and bruises do not constitute injuries. Come on now. Talk about overreacting to a situation.
What does Buzz have in store? We're about to find out. Didn't see that takedown coming.
That might be all she wrote for Chad Gable.
Look at this, Byron.
There's no way he's giving up now.
No, he releases the hold.
What in the world is he thinking? Does he not want to win?
When this guy's on, look out. Counter here.
Nobody controls the pace of a match quite like this guy.
Potential damage to the eye socket there.
In a submission match, the name of the game is to make your opponent tap out from a submission move. There have been so many submission specialists throughout the history of this great business. Bret Hitman Hart, Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, William Regal, and Daniel Bryan are a few who come to mind. But on the women's side, I think about Alundra Blaze, Natalya, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and the...
Look at this, Byron. He's making a statement here with this attack. Corey, earlier you spoke about a submission match, and one thing I'd like to point out is that a submission match is not necessarily the same as an I Quit match. The key difference is that he had it locked up and made his opponent tap out. Let's take a little look at some of the action from that match. Wow.
There's good, there's great, and then there's downright unbelievable WWE action.